Got something pretty special for you today. You don't know that it's special, but that's what I'm here to tell you about. Spectacular wine here from the Famille Duveau. So it's an area that's going to be starting to get in a bit more run now. With global warming and climate change, we're seeing certain areas of the planet react in a very positive way as opposed to a negative way. When you consider the story that I'm about to tell you on top of that, this wine's a no-brainer, as we like to say around here. So this is the Famille Duveau Saumur Chenin Blanc and 2020. And what you see here is this little word here, which actually they didn't put the little accent things on it, which is weird. It's Brézé, Brézé. Now the key with Brézé is it's a very special place that for decades wasn't very special. This is a particular hill, and the vineyards surrounding this particular hill in the Saumur area of the Loire Valley that in previous generations had been lauded for the quality of its wines. That the story you hear all the time, kind of that BS story about, oh, it was like Chateau d'Yquem and all this type of deal. But it was. This was a very treasured hill. Now on top of the hill was the Chateau de Brézé. And basically what happened is over the decades, actually post-war, let's talk post-war, post-World War II, that is. This area fell into, for better words, a state of neglect. People didn't care. A lot of the people that owned the vineyard on this particular hill weren't interested in quality. They sold the wine in bulk. They used chemicals and pesticides in the vineyards. You know, that classic story of just, I'll tell you something, where they had the chemical salesman going door to door and telling the vineyard owners and farmers, this is what you need to make your vineyard clean and proper. And back in the 40s and 50s, kind of like, our parents cooking TV dinners for us and canned foods and boxed foods, that's kind of what you did at that particular point in time. That carried over actually until fairly recently. And what happened is some folks have finally kind of discovered the hill of Brézé again. And a couple particular icon wines opened the door for the entire hill to reach its potential, and what a potential it is. So it's Chenin Blanc and Cabernet Franc on the hill of Brézé in Saumur, and the Chenin Blanc here is very special. The soils here are super unique. So you have like a clay, limestone, a bit chalky type soil, which they call tuffeau. And the tuffeau gives a very special character to these wines. You get richness and acidity and focus and precision. But what the vignerons in this area had to do over a number of years is get the soil back to a workable state again that would give you this focus and precision with the richness. And that was taken away with all the herbicides and pesticides and chemicals used in the soil. Once we got to a point where the roots started going down vertically instead of horizontally, and the soil came back to full health, we had a situation to produce some very compelling wines. There was one particular vigneron on top of this, a little earlier than most. Some people may have heard of him, icon unicorn producer by the name of Clos Rougeard. His white wine always said Brézé on it. And of course, 100% of us dumb Americans had no idea what that meant. We just knew that it was kind of special and we should buy it, and the rest would fall into place later. But he was the first to utilize the potential, to see the potential here in Brézé, the two brothers, and make a really fantastic white wine. Of course, that white wine is completely unicorn now. It is ungettable. It sells for close to $300 a bottle, if you can find it. And he was the Kickstarter for this hill. Now, the Duveau family has owned property here for a long, long time. And you know what? They might have been one of those bad guys at a different point in time. But the current regime, father Patrice and son Remy Duveau have put themselves in a position for great success here with sustainable agriculture. It's not completely like biodynamic, burying cow's horns and stuff, but they are doing, they are returning the soil back to its original wonderful earthy purity, right? So here you have 20 to 40-year-old vines on the hill of Brézé. You have all stainless steel. I don't think they use any wood in the vinification of this wine at all. It's also unfined and unfiltered. So we get this real pure, clean interpretation of this very special Chenin Blanc from these mature, if not old vines on the hill of Brézé. So again, as I said earlier, richness with precision, which is what we love, we look for. We like it super crispy too, and we even like those unctuous wines as well, but you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, especially at this price point. Something special indeed. Right? Chenin, as we referred to back in the other Vouvray piece that we did, it's such a chameleon. When you put this in front of any dish, any scenario, tacos, Chinese food, cream sauces, this wine just grabs any food and says, come here, buddy, come here, and bring it in. It's so engaging. This wine is so versatile on the palate and with food, it's remarkable. Not a stitch of oak, but the wine has this wonderful ample richness in the mid palate. Bone dry, by the way, there's no sweetness, this isn't dessert wine, no residual sugar. This is perfect, delicious, bone dry white wine. With the richness and body of a Chardonnay, no oak, but with the focus and precision of something heading towards like the Riesling or Albarino family, right? So you really do get both worlds. You get this wonderful richness in the mid palate, and you get the taste, and that's the limestone doing it, right? Limestone creates a scenario where the pH in the wine's much lower. Lower pH means higher perceived acid, higher real acid, and you certainly taste it and feel it in this wine. Capable of aging 10 to 15 years. Great now. Now for the best part. Like I said earlier, the Clos Rougeard sells for around $300. Other famous wines from the Hill of Brézé right now, since it's a big deal, are selling in that $60 to $80 range, whether you're dealing with Arnaud Lambert or Romain Guiberteau or some of these other big, like super cool kid names. We did a direct import buy on this wine. We're bringing it to you under $20 a bottle, which for something from the Hill of Brézé, it's paramount, it's the same as like getting Hal Mountain Cabernet for 25 bucks, right? Or getting Bexar Tocolone for 30 bucks. Like, it doesn't happen. This hill is a big deal now. Everyone wants vineyards from this hill. It's super in demand, and fortunately, the Duveau family owned these 5 acres for a really long time. So we're really fortunate to have this wine in-house at this price. It is one of the greatest white wines we have in the store under 20 bucks. Comes with the super cool DM cork. Your wine's not gonna be corked, so don't call us and say, oh, my wine's corked, my wine's tainted. It's not. These DMs are almost 100% taint-free, and just really beautiful wine, beautiful scenario, perfect with the cuisines here in Southern California and beyond, and enjoy.